Alto Goldfield is a first-year student at the Ordija Academy of Magic. His teacher informs him that he has failed to pass the summoning exam. Moreover, despite his perfect scores in all other fields, he can't advance further if he fails to form a contract with a familiar. Alto visits the library, hoping to find some way to fix his situation, when suddenly an old book falls on his head. Our guy should definitely buy a lotto ticket, because the book turns out to be a book about summoning magic. He prepares a circle and performs the summoning magic by dropping a droplet of blood in the circle. And to his surprise, he summons a naked girl with horns, who offers to give him whatever he wants.
Lord have mercy. We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
Alto's luck continues, successfully forming a familiar contract with a bombshell. She kisses him, telling him that she needs some of his juices. Sorry, I meant his mana. She tells him that her name is Vermeil, and tells him that she's a demon that requires a lot of juices. Shit, I did it again. Sorry, she says she's a demon that requires a lot of mana to stay materialized. For his first command, being a virgin protagonist, Alto orders her to put on his sister's clothes. Later, Vermeil tells him that he possesses a potent mana as lethal as poison, which is why he wasn't able to form a familiar contract before. She reveals that she was sealed in the old book for a very long time. She tells him that he's pretty handsome, and because he helped her escape, she decides to become his familiar. The next day at school, Vermeil pretends to be a human who's formed a familiar contract with Alto. She shows the sign of the contract on her chest to Alto's teacher, and the perverted old man passes him. During class, Vermeil helps Alto with his notes, sitting very close to him in the process. Lilia gets jealous, thinking that she's a better note-taker than Vermeil. Lilia shouts at her, telling her to take better damn notes for Alto or he'll fail the class, and the teacher orders her to leave the class. Later, she confronts Alto, asking him about his true relationship with Vermeil. It's getting heated, so Lilia releases her tie, throws it, and hits her mark. She challenges Alto to a duel, demanding that if she wins, Alto will have to leave Vermeil in his room, unless her services are required. Vermeil chimes in, telling Lilia that if Alto wins, Lilia will have to do anything Alto wishes. Lilia gets shy, believing that she's too young to engage in extracurricular activities with Alto. But she doesn't realize that Alto is a super virgin that has the sexual maturity of a 5-year-old boy. That is not named Rudius Greyrat. The duel begins and Lilia summons her familiar, a high-class wind spirit named Sylphide. She launches a powerful attack, but Vermeil easily blocks it, countering with magic that seduces Lilia.
What's wrong with her?
She ultimately loses the duel, and Alto, being an anime protagonist, commands Lilia to simply become friends with Vermeil. Later, Vermeil drains Alto's mana again, and reveals that being sealed away for centuries has made her weak, which is why she must drain his mana to retain her physical form. She tells him that engaging in plot development is another effective way of draining his mana, but Alto tells her he's fine with the kisses. The next day, Alto warns Vermeil to not do anything that would make her stand out. Suddenly, a high-class familiar dragon approaches them, but Vermeil effortlessly flicks it away, causing everyone to wonder if Alto's familiar can be both hot and powerful at the same time. All the boys divert their attention to Vermeil's big watermelons, as it's impossible not to look when they take too much space in your eyesight. Later, Alto and Vermeil meet Lilia, who informs them that everyone's talking about them. During class, the teacher talks about familiars and reveals familiars are simple creatures. If treated with love and care, they become an inseparable companion. In the next class, it is shown that demon seals are composed of hundreds of layers of barriers and circles which make it impossible for a demon to be released back into the physical world. And yet, it was possible for our protagonist. After class, Alto, Vermeil, and Lilia meet Rex, a 5th-year student who's also a dragon rider. Alto reveals that dragon riders are a group of mages, who all have dragons as their familiars. Rex threatens them, but Alto attacks him with advanced crystal magic from behind. Much to their surprise, Rex easily breaks the crystals and summons his dinosaur familiar. The dinosaur rushes at them, but Vermeil amplifies Alto's mana and transfers it to him as he easily defeats the dinosaur with another attack. At night, Alto reveals that his dream is to become a platinum square mage, and Vermeil promises to help him achieve his dream. But before that, she tells Alto that she's a bit low on the juices and requires his late night services before heading to bed. The next day, the trio meets Cheryl Iridescence and Marks Parston, two second-year students. Alto reveals that Marks's family is one of the great noble houses. Suddenly, the headmaster summons Cheryl, Alto, and Lilia. He gives them a special trial and the winner will be chosen as the representative of their class. They need to get a rare flower called the fairy flower by 6 p.m., which is used to craft potions. Marks summons his beetle familiar Francois and carelessly rushes into the enchanted forest. But he gets caught by a plant monster, so Cheryl drops out of the trial to rescue him. Later, the trio finds the fairy flower guarded by a Cerberus. Lilia uses an invisibility potion to get past the Cerberus and notices a leaking snot, which means Cerberus is sick and can't sense her smell. While being invisible, she embarrassingly strips naked in front of Alto. Lilia proceeds forward while Alto requests Vermeil to amplify his mana again. She sits on him and kisses him to suck his mana. However, the third head of the Cerberus detects Lilia's presence. Alto diverts the attention of the Cerberus, allowing Lilia to escape while Vermeil launches a powerful attack to defeat the Cerberus. Lilia hands the fairy flower to Alto, but her potion wears off, exposing herself in the process. She accidentally loses the fairy flower, and the wind blows it away to Cheryl as the winner is declared. The next day, Vermeil enjoys the delicious sweets of the modern world, while Alto realizes that he doesn't know much about her. Suddenly, they notice Chris Westland, the captain of the Dragon Riders. Marks reveals that Chris founded the Dragon Riders and led them to a position of power. Moreover, she's one of the only 7 gold squares at the academy, and an executive officer on the student council. Out of nowhere, Vermeil puts her watermelons on Alto's face, suffocating him just because it's cultured content and visibly pleasant on our eyes. Lilia pushes the balloons away and tells her to keep her baby bumpers away from her man. Later, Lilia and Cheryl change their clothes in the locker room, when Lilia says that she doubts Vermeil is actually a human, deciding to expose her for what she truly is. Meanwhile, Vermeil sneaks into the boys' locker room to tease Alto, and all the virgin boys think today's their lucky day, especially this one. Look at how happy he is. Later, Alto warns her to stay low-key, as he doesn't want to draw the attention of the student council towards them. Afterwards, the trio witnesses the 5 members of the student council, and Chris notices Vermeil as they begin to engage in a staring contest. Later, Alto takes a shower and begins to talk to himself, thinking how great this shower is. He begins to hear Vermeil's voice and thinks that he hears her voice in her head, so he chats with the voice in his head. 5 minutes later, he realizes that the voice was the real Vermeil, who figures that Alto would stop being a prude in the shower. She pins him down and tells him that he's pretty jacked for a prude. She hugs him, strategically placing her gigantic watermelons in the front lines, and tells him that she'll do anything he tells her to do. She goes for a kiss and tells him that she'll make his dreams come true.
You're a lucky man.
Later, we see Chris badly beating Rex for losing against an underclassman. The next day, Alto, Vermeil, and Lilia visit Rex in the hospital. He tells them about the unfortunate incident, which frustrates Alto. He goes to Chris and challenges her to a duel, which surprises her. She praises his courage and summons her familiar dragon Whirlwind. Vermeil kisses Alto to amplify his mana, and Chris notices his golden mana. Alto attacks her with his crystal magic, but she easily counters it by shooting fire attacks. Vermeil steps in to protect Alto, and the fire attacks damage her, which shocks Alto. Chris states she'll punish them and launches another fire attack at them. Out of frustration, Vermeil decides to go all out with Alto, and they launch a powerful crystal attack. Much to their surprise, Chris mounts her dragon to dodge the attack and launches multiple fire attacks. Alto shoots crystals to counter them, but she effectively dodges them in midair. Vermeil amplifies Alto's mana, and both parties launch their final attacks. However, Alto and Vermeil use the huge crystal as a diversion to jump in the air. Alto puts a crystal knife near Chris' throat as he claims his victory. Alto becomes instantly popular among the ladies, which causes Lilia to get jealous. She can't believe that a prude guy like Alto can get so many girls, but no matter. She accepts reality and decides to eliminate the competition. Next, Rex meets Chris, who's doing the chores because of her loss. Much to his surprise, she apologizes to him, and the two amend their friendship. At night, Vermeil kisses Alto in his sleep, and he wakes up. He forbids her from kissing him while he's sleeping, because it's hard for him to sleep when the beast underneath comes out of its cave. He tells her that one should only kiss someone they love. Vermeil tells him that she loves him, and jumps on him with her massive army in the front lines, ready to engage in an intense battle.
Commanding 30,000 free Greeks! Ho! To victory!
The next day, Alto wonders if a demon can fall in love with a human. He asks Professor Obsidian, who replies lust-craving incubi and succubi exist. However, a succubus will only be interested in a human if she desires his mana. Feels bad man. Later, Alto asks Vermeil if she only likes him because of his huge load. She hugs him and tells him that she drains his mana because she can't live without it. But she kisses him without draining his mana, showing Alto that there is more to her actions than meets the eye. The next day, a female student meets Professor Obsidian in his office. He manipulates her and injects her with something that leaves her frozen in her room. The news reaches the student council, and it is revealed that the name of the girl is Emma Abeline. The vice president, Ruga Shinauji, and chairman of the dueling committee, Jessica Schwartz, notice it's the 4th attack of this year. They decide to find the culprit behind the mess. Later, Alto is assigned homework, tasked with writing a detailed report on his familiar that requires precise measurements of their body, weight, and height. At night, Alto begins his assignment, so Vermeil decides to strip, realizing that his grade depends on it. Outside, Lilia uses the invisibility potion while handing her clothes to Cheryl. Lilia decides to sneak into Alto's room, hoping to uncover Vermeil's secret. Alto measures Vermeil's bust size, all for the sake of getting that A+. Lilia enters the room and decides to spy on them next to the bookcase. Alto heads for the bookcase. He reaches for a book, but realizes the book isn't useful, because it wouldn't be funny if he already found what he's looking for. He looks for another book and presses the subscribe button, because this content is too damn funny. Lilia, being the most perverted individual in this anime, is love-struck by Alto's button-pressing techniques. Meanwhile, Chris is getting wrecked by Rex, who seems to be losing his shit. In a flashback, it is revealed that Chris helped Rex to hatch his dragon when they were younger, so it's pretty clear that Rex is being controlled by a third party. Meanwhile, Alto and Vermeil visit the market to buy something to cook for dinner. She begs Alto to buy her some sweets, but he puts his foot down like a true man and tells her that he ain't a bank account for her womanly needs. However, Vermeil pulls the cute card, and my guy caves, quicker than when you decided to click on the thumbnail for this video. She hugs him with her pillows and kisses him in public without taking his juices, I mean mana, causing him to get embarrassed. He tells her not to do that again, but she kisses him again because why the hell not? Suddenly, Rex's brother arrives and requests them to help him. Meanwhile, Rex continues to give Chris a spanking. She tries to fight, but her fire attacks prove ineffective against the mutated Rex. Alto and Vermeil arrive, witnessing the horrifying sight. Vermeil notices that something is wrong with Rex's mana as he summons his familiar. Alto gets prepared to fight, but the president of the student council, Alina Kimberlite, intervenes. She effortlessly defeats Rex with her sword. Alina asks Vermeil if she has any knowledge about what happened to him, to which she replies that she doesn't. 3 days later, the date for the bronze certification exam is revealed, and Lilia motivates Alto to try and pass it on his first try. Vermeil says she's tired and leaves him alone so that he can study for his exams. Alto notices that Vermeil has been acting weird after the Rex accident, but can't think too long as Lilia forces him to study with her together and alone. On her way out, Vermeil meets Professor Obsidian, who outright says he's the one behind all the incidents. She tells him that she doesn't really care, but that she'll kill him if he lays a finger on Alto. Just then, he injects her with a strange fluid, causing her to release dark energy. Meanwhile, Lilia tries to seduce Alto by unbuttoning her shirt, but is interrupted short when they hear a loud blast. The members of the student council are alerted as Alina heads for the disturbance. She is stopped, however, by a paper talisman that transforms into a large monster, who tells her that she cannot pass. The injection transforms Vermeil to her true demon form, while Alto rushes out to find her. Alina fights the mysterious monster, however, it regenerates after every attack. On the other hand, Professor Obsidian uses a magic chain around Vermeil's neck to control her. Alto and Lilia arrive on the scene, witnessing Vermeil kneeling to Professor Obsidian. He reveals his true colors, telling them that he's been injecting students with demon serum, which causes their powers to run amok. However, now he has a true demon, which can be controlled by the palm of his hand. He reveals that he's the man behind everything, and Alto bursts with anger. Suddenly, Vermeil breaks the magic chain and begins to attack Professor Obsidian. She is about to finish him, but Alto intervenes. She pierces Alto's chest, and he collapses on the ground. Vermeil grows even more vicious, but the severely wounded Alto hugs her. His embrace reaches her as she calms down and reverts to her normal form. Vermeil begins crying, asking Alto why he did what he did, and he tells her it's because he's her master. Moments after, Alto dies, and Lilia begins to cry helplessly. Unwilling to let him die, Vermeil kisses him, and suddenly, Alto is miraculously healed of his fatal wounds. Professor Obsidian gets lit at the situation and injects himself with the demon serum. He transforms into a demon hybrid, a hideous ultimate demon form, prepared by feeding upon hundreds of lower-level demons. He prepares to crush Vermeil with his new power, but she draws her inner Saitama and blows him up with one punch. He tries to escape by flying away, but Chris shows up and shoots him from afar. This gives Vermeil enough time to catch up, and she defeats him effortlessly. However, she doesn't kill him because she knows that Alto would be mad. Alto wakes up, and Lilia hugs him, overwhelmed with happiness. Alto thanks Vermeil for saving his life, but she begins to act strangely. She tells him that in order to save his life, her mana has been knit together with his heart. She apologizes to him, telling him that if she dies, he'll die as well, and if he dies, she'll also die. Alto tells her not to apologize, telling her that she did what she needed to save his life. Alto gets sad, because now she won't be able to live for centuries, and will die like any normal human. Later, Professor Obsidian is arrested by the Ortigia City Guard, and the incident is resolved for the moment. The students in comas wake up, feeling fine, but a few things have changed for Alto. Vermeil is required to kiss him regularly, since his heart requires Vermeil's mana to function. However, she stops talking to him, giving him a cold shoulder everywhere they go. Alto asks her why she's acting so cold, and she tells him that he's seen her true form as an ugly and vile monster. But without hesitation, Alto kisses her. He pins her aggressively to the wall and tells her that he needs her now and forever. Alto runs out, feeling as prude as ever, while Vermeil realizes that he kissed her without taking any mana, implying that he loves her, as she remembers that he once said that you should only kiss the person you love.